Hi and good morning to everyone. My name is Zoey Angulo, and I will be focusing on chapters 1 and 2 of The Big Thirst by best-selling author Charles Fishman. Chapters 1 and 2 are basically set up for us to get a solid foundation of the importance of water and its functions. This book contains a lot of data as well as detail and has been an interesting read for me thus far. With that, I'm just going to outline some of the key points and hopefully it'll raise your awareness and help you look at water in a different light as it has for me. Now for a little bit about the author, Charles Fishman. He is also the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Walmart Effect. He's former Metro and national reporter for the Washington Post. He's also a three-time recipient of UCLA's prestigious Gerald Loeb Award. So how well do we really know water? I know we all drink water, we all flush our toilets, and hopefully all of us take showers. But have you ever stopped and thought deeply about water? After reading the first chapters of this book, I believe my knowledge of water had been pretty shallow, no pun intended. I want you to stop and think about your everyday relationship with water. Water literally acts as a common medium in our lives that many times we take for granted. Where did it come from? Is it being created and or destroyed? How old is the water that I'm drinking right now? How does it get to my shower head and where does it go when it enters my drain? And is it an abundant resource? Now this is something that kind of blew my mind. Although it's been confirmed that water was formed hundreds of millions and or billions of years ago in interstellar clouds, one molecule at a time, it's not quite clear how water made it to us. It's been predicted of being 4 billion years old though, so I guess we've all finally found something that doesn't expire before spam does. Also, what is astonishing is that most of the water on our planet, anywhere from 4 to 10 times the amount we have in all our oceans, isn't even visible. It's combined, it's locked in rock deep in the Earth's mantle, roughly 255 miles below us. So now back to the abundant question. This depends on the context of how you're looking at it. So not only was water created in outer space at the time of maybe when the Milky Way was created, and not only did it get here roughly 4 billion years ago, water can neither be created or destroyed. This means what you see is what you get. And although water itself is abundant in quantity, quote unquote, clean drinking water is not, especially when you start breaking it down into different regions of our planet. Oh yeah, and I also hate to inform you that the water that you're drinking today has most likely spent some time in a dinosaur's kidney. So here's a little American history lesson on water. For most of human history, water was part of the daily routine, and it was a constant part of our mental landscape. Water was an issue early on and because one could not always get access to clean water. This was a large factor in the early high mortality rates and low life expectancies. In 1905 to 1915, dozens of water systems capable of filtering and chlorinating started to become installed, and with further advancements by 1940, mortality rates were cut by 40% and life expectancy increased by 16 years. Also, child mortality was cut in half. Now, not only did clean municipal water decrease mortality rates, but it also encouraged cities to grow. With advancements in water main systems, Americans for the first time started feeling like water was something they didn't really have to work for. All one needed to do was turn on a faucet and voila, they'd have safe drinking water, pretty much on demand. And over on the left-hand side, as you can see, you have a man, in a nice set of overalls, pumping himself some well water, getting a little workout in. And on the right side, you have Ferris Bueller basically disregarding the water and using it as a microphone to sing in the shower. So one thing that Fishman states is that our very success with water has allowed us to become water illiterate. So now you see how most of us, including Ferris Bueller, view water. But now let's look at the world. To make a long story short, 1.1 billion people do not have access to clean or safe water. Also, 1.8 billion people do have access, but they need to walk at least a kilometer to get it. So if you combine these numbers and compare against the population in 2013, that leaves you with a 40% amount of people who either do not have good access to water or must walk to get it. Here's another one that stood out to me. You basically aren't American if you don't flush your toilet. What I mean by this is, out of the 1.1 billion people who are struggling to access clean water on a regular basis, which comes out to basically 5 liters a day is what they each get, the average American uses 70 liters per day just to flush your toilets. Americans literally flush 18.5 gallons of clean drinking water down their toilet on a daily basis. This is a sad truth considering, according to the World Health Organization, 1.8 million children die a year from lack of clean drinking water. Now here's the good thing about water. It can always be clean, but if it isn't managed properly, eventually, and probably not in our lifetime, we may not be able to clean it at the desired timescale to service everyone. According to Fishman, water itself isn't becoming more scarce. It simply is disappearing from places that, we're accustomed to finding it. All water problems are local. For example, we don't feel it here in the US, but those large numbers of people who do not have access to clean drinking water are usually in undeveloped and overpopulated countries. Now here's another interesting fact. Fishman was predicting, but from 2013, looking into the future, by the year 2050, 2.4 billion people will have been added. Over the last 100 years, while population has increased by a factor of 4, total water consumption has almost doubled that, increasing to a factor of 7. Alright, now that you got a little history lesson and a little dive into the future, let's think about water at a molecular level. This kind of amazed me because water's polarity, it makes it act as an amazing insulator. But not only can it temper our planet's climate, it's versatile enough that it can also regulate our body's temperature at the same time. Water's polarity allows it to be a great solvent as well. All the chemistry in our body would not be able to function without water as a medium. Having said that, water really is the genesis ingredient for life at all levels. Something also amazing. An individual water molecule is so tiny that one red blood cell can hold up to 3 trillion of them. So not only do we need water to function, technology needs water to function. The microchips that are made nowadays must be washed with water of quote-unquote absolute purity. Absolute purity basically means that this water has to be 10 million times cleaner than regular tap water we drink. So, after hearing everything I've mentioned, it's pretty obvious why water has a certain charm and almost a bit of mystery to it. I mean, it's so simple, but at the same time, it acts as a medium for so many complex functions physically in nature and within our bodies. For example, in comparison, a DNA molecule is so complex it contains 204 billion atoms, while water is simply just built of 3 atoms. Water is transparent, but it also can reflect light while absorbing heat and can dissolve almost anything. Water is the most basic necessity of human life. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with this quote quote from within chapters 1 and 2 that I believe Fishman is the initial point that he wants us to grasp in these first two chapters. If you're going to be ready for a new era of water, we need to reclaim water from our superficial sense of it. We need to reclaim it from the cliches. We need to rediscover its true value and also the serious commitment required to provide it. It is one of those ironies of our relationship to water that the moment it becomes unavailable, the moment it really disappears, that is when water becomes urgently visible.